He said that's a lot. I like that. Hey everyone, Mark and Jeremy back for the Angular live stream as usual. Now I'm gonna tell you something, friends. It's the last live stream of the year because we're in December, and I'm gonna do something I always say I'm gonna do, which is play music on stream. And I never do it, and I never have my audio working. It never works.
All right, give us an intro riff.
Let's see if this is. Is that coming through?
Yeah.
Okay, then now I'm gonna play some music, some original music.
Some copyright-free music.
That's right. I'm not gonna do any covers because I don't want it to get in here. Oh, this is the desktop. It is a desktop view. Thank you for noticing, Michael Small. Let's see if this even works. I want to be really mad if it doesn't. Can you hear the drum track?
Very lightly.
Okay.
It's quiet.
Good. I don't want it to be too loud. Hold on. Let's see. All right. I know I'm doing a lot of extra stuff. Oh, that's why. I know why you can't hear the drum track. You see, this always happens to me. I can never get my audio set up to be what I want, but I got it this time. I was preparing before this. Friends at home, yes, this is me being chaotic, but that's fine. Jeremy did not agree to this. I did. This is all me being me, and we're just gonna have to deal with it. Okay, let's see if this even does anything. How about now? Is that coming through?
Oh, very loud. Yes.
Very loud. Okay, we turned it down now. Okay, there we go. All right. Now I'm gonna play some guitar as people pour in. Okay, there we go. Yeah.
Also, Mark, our stream is like our faces are tiny, and it's like.
My picture's tight, so you can't see my hand like playing guitar. Yeah. All right, let's see if we get some more in here. Yeah. Oh, that's enough. Just a little bit of guitar. I promised you all for years that I was going to play guitar, and I did it, and it's been fun, and yeah, but it's just too chaotic because it's not a music stream. So like everything's not set up to be like focused on guitar, but this is my guitar finally going. All right,
Mark's just supposed to show off that he's the coolest man that's ever lived.
You know what? I'm gonna tell everybody a secret about my life, and this is gonna be it's gonna explain a lot. I learned how to do a lot of things because when I was younger, I was really, really trying to like attract a partner, and so I was like, what if I had a lot of skills and I could just do a lot of stuff? So I just start like learning how to do stuff. Oh man,
that's what people are looking for in a romantic partner.
Yeah,
volume of skills.
Yeah, a lot of skills. Sorry if it was a little messy with the guitar playing, but that's because the audio setup for this is just not ideal. I'm not gonna lie to you. No branding. I don't want anybody to see the branding of my. Actually, I can tell you, Hint Water. I love Hint Water. This is not an endorsement. It's just I really like Hint Water. All right, let's get everybody started. Let's say hello. Are we programming in TMUX today? Jeremy programs in a special tool called WebStorm.
A special tool?
Yeah, called WebStorm. That's it. Let's see who's okay. Let's see. We got Gabrielle in the building. Hey, what's up? What's up, everybody? Logan in the building. What's up? Michael Small. Good to see you. All right. First and foremost, Oglethorpe. I like how you were trolling me in the Flutter stream. That was pretty funny, though. I really like the energy. I like good jokes. Somebody put in a lot of comments and questions already. I'll be on the broadcast, so I'll ask a question in advance. Okay, yes, I will start all of these. Jeremy will answer a bunch of questions. We're gonna have some fun today. Jeremy, get your IDE together because you're gonna be.
I'm ready. I'll share my screen. I gotta minimize you. No. Entire screen. Share. All right. Can you see all that?
I do. I see something what I think is the background from a video game, but I can't tell.
Oh yeah, my desktop background, if you're curious, it's from Firewatch.
I thought it was. I never played that game, but I am revitalized. Friends. Okay, Jeremy, that's too small. But whenever you're ready to zoom in,
Hold on. I gotta. Yeah, I'm not.
are
I'm
you
not
already
opening
okay?
anything yet. New window. I got my like local host up over here.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. No, I really love the developer community.
Uh,
All right. My guitar playing was a little messy today because I was really trying to get my I just want to get it to work, and I have a lot of anxiety of it not working because when we had Andrew Scott on, I played and I was playing my butt off, and the audio never came through. So it was just me playing, and all you could hear was the like raw strings with no like background sound. It was absolutely horrendous. And I do not want to experience that again. Maybe I should play acoustic next time. Hello from Sri Lanka. What's going on? Good to see you. You are a bit vertical. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what's going on with the like. Oh, Jeannie, you changed your name. All right. I'm trying to keep the stream. Trying to stream. Yeah, there is a desktop version of the stream. I don't know how to turn off the vertical one.
I feel like I just had it, although I can't switch to the stream now because.
No. Don't worry about it. I just want to turn off the vertical. I'm sorry. So if you're watching from a phone, you're going to see the vertical version. So let me center myself a little bit more. If you're watching from a phone, you'll see a vertical version. If you're watching from a desktop, there's a desktop version.
Yeah, I'm seeing. I've got YouTube up over here, so I can look at the stream, and I'm seeing the like mobile version on YouTube desktop web.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I hate that. Let's see if we can turn this off. Okay, hear about this. How about I'll work on that while you code and talk to the people.
Yes. So I won't be able to look at questions while I'm doing this. So let me know if there's any questions that come up. Oh yeah, that's too tiny.
Yeah, that's especially if I can't get this vertical thing turned off.
I feel like there should be a setting that just does it the normal way.
Yeah.
So what I was going to build today is a page where you can put in your information for 30-factor authentication. This idea is shamelessly stolen from a bit on the Dropout.tv show Make Some Noise.
Which is excellent.
And so I thought, hey, what if we really built a web page where you put in all of your credentials for 30-factor authentication?
All right.
Let's see.
You go ahead and do that. I'm working over here.
Yeah, the thing is, I think nobody can actually read the IDE or anything because it's in this like mobile mode.
Yeah, and I didn't even enable this. This is a streaming software feature that I have not wanted. Working on it though. I'm working on it. I'm looking at it in my screen too. Sorry, friends at home. I'm so sorry. Somebody said on desktop is fine, but for me, I'm seeing the mobile version.
Here, hold on. Let me.
Mark Curtis has a good point. Depending on which version you get, there's like two versions kind of going on.
So I stopped sharing my screen for a second. Is this one not just what we want?
Let's see. Let me go live. Yeah, let's see. Is that working? Nope, mine does not show like that. So yeah, it's weird. But you continue on as if nothing's happening. I will work on this.
Okay. I mean, I just want to make sure people can see the actual code because
Yeah, I'll remove myself and put only your code so that way Or okay, we're both there, but it's only code. So share your code again, and that'll be the only thing on screen.
All right, let's do it. I'm gonna do entire screen.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I've added it back. I'm like on my YouTube feed, it's still showing up real tiny.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I'm working on it. This has to be a way to solve this.
All right. Well, maybe we can just answer some questions for a bit. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna stop sharing for a second. I'm gonna go back to the stream. I'm gonna share only my IDE just so we have something sharing instead of my whole screen, and then I'm gonna look at questions. And so oh, interesting. So there's 2 streams on YouTube itself. And so maybe the problem is that I've clicked the wrong one. I'm on desktop over here. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I see. There are 2 separate live streams on YouTube, right? Like 2 instances, and you pick one or the other.
How do you know which to pick?
They both have the exact same name. I don't see. Yeah, there's no difference between them. There's a little like phone emoji on one. I see. It's very subtle. It's dark on dark too.
Oh, horrendous.
Okay, so this is a a little bit of a challenging new feature launch from StreamYard, but I think we figured it out. So if you are watching on a desktop device and you would like to see some code that's not super tiny, then make sure you go on YouTube and go to the stream that does not have a little phone emoji in the title of the stream. Yeah, this is such a weird way of doing it.
Yeah, I'm deleting this. I don't know how I'm going to delete it, but yes, there is a phone emoji. Oh, I see. Okay, now this is whack. This is super whack. I don't know why it's doing this. We will, next time we stream, we will ensure that we're not using it. Yes, I see what Jerome has pointed out correctly. Somehow we enabled 2 different orientations.
Yeah.
This is so embarrassing. Thank you all for being so patient as we scramble to figure this out. I did not want this to happen, and I don't know how to turn it off. I don't think I can turn it off right now. But if you are, like, as Jeremy said, if you are watching the mobile one, click on the other one with the icon. I'm going to see if I can at least edit the title. So one says mobile and one says that does not say mobile. So at least you can have a chance. I'm just going to say best for mobile.
All right. So with that, I think we can proceed. So I was just going to use Signal Forms here to create this 30-factor authentication.
Let's do it.
So stop sharing, share my whole screen.
Time is not reversible. We do prepare before we join. We just didn't expect this feature to happen this way.
Yeah, I got my IDE set up. I got my project set up before
That's what I'm saying. He's already ready.
I wasn't expecting StreamYard to do something weird.
And guess what? If you chose the wrong one, we didn't know it was doing something different. Now we know, though. Time is not reversible yet, as Josh Van Allen says. Yet. That's right.
All right. So let's go ahead and create our data model here. We don't need a router here. Although we will need the field from
can I put
Signal Forms.
Can I put only you?
I mean, you still gotta stay in there.
Let me see if I can do something here.
All right. So
there we go. So can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Okay, perfect. Because I just figured out how to go off stage quickly. I want to be all about you and your excellent coding. How do you all like our new homepage? Y'all see that new fancy homepage? And we're still improving it. It's going to improve even further.
Yeah. So Yeah, I like that the homepage has kind of, it tells you more information now. Before it was very kind of Art Nouveau. And so, yeah, I'm just going to use Signal Forms here. This is our new thing in V21. People have been clamoring for it for a long time. And so the first thing we're going to do is just create a data model for our form. So we're going to say export interface 30 factor. And this is, we're going to just start off with like username and password and confirm password string. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I have not really spent a lot of time hands-on with Signal Forms. And so this is going to be like an experience for me. And so I'm going to be showing off our great documentation for this as we go. And so I'm going to say const my, auth here is going to be a signal. And we're going to start off with our like initial state for everything. So we've got our username is empty, password empty, confirm password empty. And not const, I'm in a class. And then we're going to create our form. And we're just going to leave it empty for now. So we've got a form of our auth model here, and we can go start adding some fields for these things. So let's say section. We don't really, we're not going to get too fancy here with this, but got our username, input, and then we're going to put the field on here for the username. Yep. Not all. We want the form. There we go. And so let's look at that. Cool. We've got our username here field. And so let's repeat that for, we got password, confirm password. And this is going to be type password. This one's going to be type password. And this is password and confirm password. Cool. So I'm also going to add a little spacing between sections here. So I'm just going to hop into the CSS and say section margin. Let's just say 1 EM. Yeah, that's fine. We're not doing anything fancy. We're just showing off the form APIs. And so now, what do we want to do, Mark, now that we've got this form set up?
Okay, before you say that, I got to answer a question. Ibrahim says, why the live is like that? Ibrahim, you make sure you go to the, it looks like you're on the mobile live. You got to go to the desktop live. So there's a mobile one, and then there's a desktop one. Angular has a YouTube channel. You got a YouTube channel? Yes, we do. Have you seen our latest video on our YouTube channel? That's what you really should check out. Blueberries. All right. Continue. We should. Okay, so show me what you got so far.
Well, we just got some fields here. I think we should add some validation.
Yes. Let's add some really contrived validation that just, makes it hard.
So we're gonna pass in here our path. And so this in your form represents kind of like the path to the different fields in your form. And so the first thing we want to do is say username is required, right? So we're going to say required. We're going to import that from Signal Forms, and we're just going to say path dot username, right? And this, like, we can call this whatever. Let's just call this like, let's see. I'm just going to say like P just for P for path, or you could just put like F for form. You can use whatever you want here. And so now we say our username is required. And so to see if that works, we actually have to add a form around all this, which I guess I should have done earlier. And then we're going to add a submit button at the end. Submit is the default type, but I'm going to be explicit here just so that it's on purpose. And so we'll have a submit button here.
Hey, Jeremy, somebody says, why are you exporting the interface?
Oh, just out of habit. You don't actually have to export it.
Yeah, it's okay, friends. He didn't have to do it. He just did it.
Also, I should put here to make sure that these types line up. Cool. So we also need now, we have our validation, but we're not showing the errors anywhere. And so for now, I'm just going to add a section at the bottom, and this is going to show all of our errors. And so we're going to say for error of form dot errors track. Let's see. Is it not errors? Oh, right. I forget. It's. I think this should be right. It's red, but I don't know that it should be red. And we're just going to print out error here. I think it might be like error.message or something like that. We'll get there. And then we actually want to have an if around this whole thing and say if form.invalid, which is also a signal, and wrap all that. And so I'm pretty sure this has some sort of compilation error.
Dev. We got it. I tagged it. We're going to answer. The chats are unified, so it's okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh, is it that I should be doing?
Kirill is in the chat.
Yeah, this isn't real, and so let's see. What's the right thing to track by here? Error dot. Let's just say error dot field. I think that's going to be the right thing to track by, and then form here is also reading. Cool. So
1 second, Jeremy. Let's see, Bevik. It is not just you. There are 2 streams. One is mobile and one is desktop. You can switch to. I labeled them so you can know which is which. And we won't do it again. I'm going to delete that feature. I don't know how we're going to delete it. We're going to delete it all the way.
Yeah. And so now, if I submit this, my form should run this required validator on username, and we should get an error here in our error section. So let's see what happens. Oh, it won't let me submit it at all because this is by putting the field directive on here, it makes this required. And so I can't actually submit it at all. So it is kind of working there. I do want to put, like, can I actually force this to, like, required false so it will just, like, let me submit the form, even though now it won't? Oh, right, because it doesn't work this way. You'd have to do required equals false like that. Nah, the field still overrides it. Okay, well, I guess it still works, right? Username is required. And so do we want to put another validation on here? Let's say we want to validate our password, right? So let's say our password has to have a number in it. So how do we do that? Let's go to the docs.
Yeah, we can pass a function as a second parameter to the validator, I believe, and that should let us do it.
Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna show off our docs a little bit here, and like go to docs, forms. We have our new section for signal forms here, and validation. Got a whole page about validation here, and so we'll talk about all the like built-in validators. And so we see all these built-in validation rules, but I want custom, right? So actually, that took me to another thing here. So custom error messages, though. That's still for the built-in. Here we go, custom validation roles right here. So we can see in this code example here, we call the validate function is what we're looking for. And so we're going to say validate, pull that in from the signal forms package, and we're going to say f.password. And we're going to get a function here. And now this function takes in multiple things, and we really just care about the value right now. And so we're going to put value like that. And we're going to say if not value dot match, and we're going to say /d for number. Here, actually, we'll say if not /d dot test is the, I think, the way you would typically do this. Value is a.
I'm so serious because I'm trying to read through the comments from everybody. So that's my reading face. All right, let me try to read with a smile. Jeremy, let me know when you're ready for some questions.
All right, so here we're adding a custom validator. And let's see, what is this complaining about now? Oh, because I don't have a return otherwise. So otherwise we just return null. No? Well, when in doubt, copy and paste from the doc.
Yeah, and we'll just change it.
Yeah. So what did I do wrong here? So if not value, and we can say contains yeah, so that is not, what is the like equivalent of that? Say, is it includes? Yes. I've been learning too many oh, does this only string? Oh yeah, you can't do string with includes. All right, so I need to test after all.
I'll say, so you can do a test. Yeah, you could do a regex test there if you want.
They keep adding new string methods and stuff to the JavaScript language, and I kind of lose track sometimes of like which things they've added by now. All right, so let's see. We put our username with Mark, and then our password, I'm just going to write pizza in here. I should get a validation error. But I don't.
Yeah, did you prevent default or something like that when you clicked on the submit button?
Oh, I didn't. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that is something that is still necessary. And so I forget what the, like, if there's a right way to do it now with signal forms, or if there's a for the sake of moving forward and showing off the API, I'm just going to say default here. All right, let's try it again. Mark, pizza, submit. It still submitted the form. Actually, it is actually like submitting too. So like if I hit the submit button here, like it is submitting the page, even though I'm doing a prevent default here.
Yeah, so let's see what we've done here.
Why is that not doing prevent default?
Oh, because you got to add it to submit to the form and not to the button.
Oh, you're right. Because the submit event's on the form.
There you go.
You're so smart.
No, I'm not. I read the chat.
Okay, now it's not submitting.
I should take credit, but I'm not going to take credit. And plus, Kirill is in the chat telling everybody what to do.
Oh, Kira. Okay. Kira worked on this, and so
Right.
he's gonna get annoyed at me for not having actually looked at any of this ahead of time and clutching my way through it. And so let's look at our errors here. So if I say if the form is invalid, I'm going to render out this whole section and list out my errors. And so I think I need error dot like message here is what I actually want. Or do I, is that not a signal? Okay, that part's not a signal. So now, still not getting any error messages showing up.
Let's see. Okay, so let's see. If form that is invalid.
All right, so the chat will probably tell us what we did wrong here, but
yeah,
I can also here, I'm gonna turn this into a method, which I think WebStorm might let me do. Nah. So I'm gonna call this submit, then oh, that's not what I meant to do.
So you can do error summary on the form according to Kirill, and that also works if the errors on the form are not on the control. I don't know, where is it?
Error summary. Here, hold on. I wanna.
You gotta take it back to what you have.
Yeah, I gotta change this back. Let's just say like submit off here. Method submit auth. There we go. We want to pass the event. And we want that. We want the event. What's the event for submitting a form? Actually, I forget. All right. We're almost. Oh, I have the wrong error message here. Password must contain a number.
Oh, there you go. You got it working.
Yep. But we're also now, like, it's showing this all the time. We only want to show it if the form is touched. So we're going to say and form.touched. Cool. So now password must contain a number. There we go. And we're also going to just real quick throw like class error on here. And we will add color dark red. See, now our errors are red. And let's put them in a UL because that's the right thing to do.
Go ahead and put your empty there then. What should your empty be?
What do you mean?
The UL doesn't have to have any children, right? Like saying, because if there are no errors.
Yeah.
Well, if it's invalid, there have to be errors. Never mind.
Yeah, if there's no errors, then we don't see this at all.
You wouldn't even see it at all. That's right.
All right. So now we can also see if we want to say the passwords have to match. And so let's go ahead and add a validator for that. So we're going to say validate the confirm password and take that. I'm going to go ahead and just copy and paste this one from here. And passwords must match. And then our check here is if value is not equal to f.password.
So I think on line 42, you might be missing a parenthesis.
On line 42, missing a parenthesis. Oh, yeah.
So I know that ain't helping you for sure.
Yeah, close that. Yeah, I messed up something there. Let's just rewind a little. There, okay.
There you go.
And then we can fast forward. We'll take that again.
Okay, Kirill says the canonical way would be using value of.
Should we just add Kirill to the stream?
Kirill, if you want to come, I'm going to Slack you. And say you come to the stream. Hold on. Let's see if we can get Kirill in here.
Let's see, where does value of live?
All right, it's about to be legendary. Legendary. We're going to have 3 Angular team members on the stream at the same time. Oh, what's up? Let's go. What's up, Brandon, in the building? All right, friends, you all have been fantastic. Let's see. Okay, I don't know why Kirill is audio only, but Kirill is here.
I'm here.
There you are.
I was initially like, Jeremy didn't spend much time on the forum. I just gonna watch him struggle and not say anything, and then I just couldn't.
Yeah, you gotta tell me what to do. So I didn't prep for this at all. We've famously said on the stream before that Mark and I don't really prepare for these streams. We just kind of improvise our way through it.
Yeah, and have a good time.
And so, all right.
I will say shout out to Devin Chastanoff, who spends a lot of time preparing, and he creates these really like incredible streams. So there is something to be said there, I think.
I never prepare for streams, so I I learned that by joining 40 seconds ago. So the way you get value of is on line 34. You decompose it next to value. So you do like value.
Okay, yeah, value up here.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yes, and so then I can do value of,
and then you pass the path there.
Yeah. So tell me why this value of is here, right? Like, what's the kind of design idea behind that?
So the idea is you have this path which replicates the whole structure of your form, and it doesn't have any access to values or anything, and that's very intentional because we do not want you to have it outside of validation. It can lead to all kinds of weird consequences, and we also don't even have at the moment of creation of the form, we don't really have the actual form, right? So we want you to be able to access value and state and field of this, and this is why we have value of and field of and state of, and then you pass the path. But also you've been trying to use the form here. I'm curious if that would work. It probably could. I don't know. There's some little bit of recursion, but this should work. Let's go with this.
Yeah, this is fine.
Yeah.
All right. So going to the chat. Also, everybody welcome Kirill, who's another engineer on the Angular team and who's worked on the forms package. But what other factor authentications do we want to add here? So we can add a pretend OTP, one-time password. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And OTP.
Oh, I have a complication to add.
What's your complication?
What if you don't see the OTP until after the first few things are complete or like valid? Like you go to submit, then the next form element factor pops up after that. Is that possible?
I mean, you could do anything you want.
Do it.
But it's easier this way. I was just going to make a form with.
I know. Make the form, just don't make it appear until people have successfully. All right. Actually, before we get into our OTP discussion, let's pause for questions because people have been waiting.
Google Chrome is warning me that in my fake 30-factor authentication form, I put in the password ASD1, and it's like, hey, that's not a very safe password.
Oh man. All right, let's see. A question
Yeah,
asked.
can we take a break for some questions?
Yeah, let's do that.
All
Let's do
right,
that.
so go ahead and remove my screen share from the screen, and I'll come back over.
Okay. Guys, I won't be on the broadcast, so I'll ask a question in advance. One of the most anticipated improvements from Angular is styles for directives. Over the past 8 years, this request has garnered 315 votes. I have delved. Where did Kiro go? He should answer some questions. Okay.
Oh, I'm here. I just hit myself.
That's okay. I've delved deep into the problem and compiled a list of architectural problems that do not allow to complete the issue. Okay. Let's see. I'm ready to cooperate and solve these problems. Could you tell me your vision about the issue? What can be done to finally solve this?
I mean, there is no big philosophical reason for why it hasn't been done. It's more of a question of priorities, right? Like,
Explain to the people what our friend is asking about, though.
okay, so with components, you can declare a style, right? That goes with your component, and whenever that component shows up on the page, it'll automatically bring those styles with it, and they'll be scoped to that component. If you choose to do that, that's the default. You can also turn that scoping off. But Angular gives you a way for your CSS to participate in the JavaScript module graph with the rest of your TypeScript via components. Directives can also, like, you put directives on DOM elements, and they can set classes and attributes, and there is a natural thing you might want to do to have those directives bring in styles as well. But there's no way to do that right now, right? Like, you would have to say, like, have your directive instantiate a component that has those styles as like a workaround, or just like use a global style, or just like load the style sheet manually yourself. Like, there's tons of workarounds, but it's not built in. And it just honestly hasn't been a priority compared to some of the other bigger things we've been doing. And so, like, we're showing off signal forms, and we think that that is a much bigger like value proposition for Angular developers and web developers generally, of having this like really nice reactive form system over kind of more other things like, styles and directives. And I'm not like necessarily picking that one out. Like, I'm just mentioning it because it's like, this is the question. But like, we have, a backlog of GitHub issues and other projects that is like dozens upon dozens and dozens of things long, of like small quality of life improvements and small feature requests that we have for Angular over the years. And we try to focus on doing the things that we think are going to have the biggest impact for improving developers' lives at any given time. And so we can't do everything. And so we try to do the things we think are going to be the most useful to you.
All right.
That one hasn't made the cut yet.
All right, let's see. I'm going to jump to a question for me real quick, and then we'll jump to some questions about signal forms and Kirill can uniquely answer. Hi, I loved your V21 2D video game style. Thank you for the amazing framework. I'm going to say you're welcome. Friends at home, if you have not watched our V21 video, you definitely should. And we did something very, very cool. We actually published our soundtrack from the show. So if you like that, and that was all original music, all made by humans. That whole thing was made by humans. So somebody had commented that it was AI slop. I'm like, where? Like, you might not have liked my voice acting, but it was me, right? Like, you don't have to like it. Don't get into the habit of accusing things that you don't like as AI slop. Like don't do that, because that's just like rude. Because it wasn't. It was made by people. We worked with a production team, with artists. We made real music. I did my own stunts. How dare you? Question about signal forms. Can you provide an example of a custom radio component? I'm not sure where to put the values and fields giving. It will be multiple input type equals radio. If we have time, maybe we can go over an example of how to do this. Or the other alternative is QL. I can work with you to create an example, and we can publish that example.
I think it's the latter. Yeah, we'll create example and publish it.
We could totally do that. So at Mark Curtis, we can do this, and we'll publish an example on GitHub. That way you can have a look. All right, here's a good question. Any plans to migrate some of the Angular CDK goodies to Signal, such as selection model? Good question.
Yeah, this is a good question. There is a lot of stuff in both Angular Material and Angular CDK that could be improved with signals. I think a big reason why we haven't spent a ton of time on that yet is because we don't yet have a good plan on how to make those kinds of changes without being really breaking. Because there's a lot of existing code that's depending on these things, and we don't necessarily want to like duplicate everything and be like, here's an observable version and here's a signal version and things like that. And so similarly, right, lots of things to do. It hasn't been the thing we've seen as like the biggest priority yet, but I definitely see that there is an opportunity for having kind of more and more of the ecosystem based on signals and bringing that reactivity everywhere.
Okay. Hey, can we deserve a launch day event for new releases? We do. We have been doing launch day events. Here's something really interesting. I feel like we've done a lot to really pioneer like launch day events for like software releases like this. They were usually or typically seen for like hardware products or like major suites of like software. And then we were like, what if we just did it for our latest release? And we have gotten more and more sophisticated over time. Jeremy, do you remember the first one we did where it was just a live stream in StreamYard and it was just all of us in the big square? Isn't that so fun?
Mark is a man of just ever-growing ambition from these events.
That is
and
true.
So for every release, he wants to do something bigger and better.
Okay, I'll just say this. I'll tell you all the idea that never got the green light, not from the team, but just from logistics point of view. I wanted to do a home shopping network / QVC style event where I would host, and then we'd have the features on tables as different objects. And then one of the people responsible would walk over to that part, and I'd say, "Oh, tell us all about this," and then it would transition into a presentation. That never came to light, but that was one of the like really wild ideas. I also asked once to do a giant screen on the courtyard of one of the Google campuses, like Sundar did for Google I/O. They was like, "No, we're not doing that." That's okay, I get it, but you don't get what you don't ask for. Okay, back to the questions. Let's see. We answered that one. Here's another one.
I hijacked you.
Oh,
Where's the
go
mouse?
for it. Yeah, you want me to answer this? I can answer it. Where did the Angular mascot come from? Great one. So we worked with some different studios to get some ideas, and then we actually put it all out for the public to suggest ideas and to vote on the ones that we had gotten concept art for. So based on the feedback, overwhelmingly, people chose Angie in its current form that we announced in V21. And the press kit's going to get updated. We just got some we're getting really close to getting all the press kit assets together so people can start to use it and see Angie in its full 2D and 3D glory. Stay tuned.
All right. Which one did I steal from you that you were gonna?
Oh, it's fine. This one, real good. Let's see. Angular seems to be leaning heavily in the AI space. We have for development web projects that are behind more restricted networks. Is there a way to deploy and enable these AI capabilities per organization?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously it's no surprise. We are Google employees, and Google is very gung-ho about the opportunities and the kind of groundbreaking nature of LLMs and AI.
Yeah.
And we are part of that. So for situations that you are in a kind of a more restricted environment, we do try to make it so that all of our AI related things are kind of model agnostic, right? Like you can use whatever thing you want and configure them to like whatever works for you. And so like, for example, we have these like best practices prompts you can use for code generation. And you can like take those and edit them, manipulate them for any kind of environment you're working with. Google also has like its Gemma models, which are like you can kind of just take and run on any sufficient hardware. And you can do that in kind of a more restricted environment where like maybe you're not going to a network for the model, you have it running on your own machine or something like that. And I don't know that we specifically have tested like Angular code gen with any of the Gemma models, but what I know more generally is it's supposed to be pretty good, on par with some of even the like bigger, flashier models from a year ago. And so that is one option, is to find like a model like Gemma and use that on your own hardware. And I'm trying to think, our MCP server, of course, works with like any model infrastructure that supports MCP servers, and so that's another thing where it's not really tied to any particular system.
All right, let's see. Let me jump in real quick, and then we can do some more coding. What's up with the resolution? Hey, check this out. There is a mobile stream and a desktop stream. The one that says best for mobile is the one that you're probably on. I can see that you're on the mobile version. You can also go to the desktop version. That's something that we're going to fix for the future. I am going to disable that because I think it's too confusing for our audience. Somebody asked another question that I want to address real quick. Let's see, and then we'll go back to coding. Now, who is the person that came up with the idea for the V21 release of theming it after like a Mario level? That was hilarious. It was me. I'm no, I actually spoke to Jeremy about this early on. I DM'd him. I was like, "Look, bro, I got a really wild idea for this," and then we as a team we worked to bring it to life and figure out how we could do it to make sure that everybody was involved. Like even Kirill brought ideas to the table about how we could demonstrate signal forms and then how his character could show up and what he would say and do. And so Kirill's actually, so here's a little inside baseball. I actually had like Ghost written like a rough script for Kirill, and he read it. It was like, yeah, that's all right. That's all right. And then he went back and wrote his own script. And I was like, yes, write your own script. Like, totally fine. And I feel like the way he wrote it, it came out so much better because it's so much more authentic to himself. So, like, these events are a team effort. A lot of times I would just come with a really wild idea for what I think we could do. And then I work with the team, the Angular team, and we all work together to figure out how to bring it to fruition. All right, let's get back to some coding.
All right. So I'll share my my whole thing again. And so I want to do something that, whoops, I actually don't know how to do off the top of my head. Where's my like local host here? So I want to add a field where I'm like actually taking a snapshot from my webcam and then doing a validation on that. Does that sound interesting?
Yeah, I don't know how to do that. We'll struggle together.
Yeah. I have no idea how to do this, and so we're gonna figure it out based on the docs here.
Right.
And so I'm just gonna add a section here that is take a photo. This is part of our 30-factor authentication, and I'm gonna leave a like to do here. I don't know what's gonna go inside of here. Oops. Like that. And so there is this get user media function over here. And so what I want is how do I like get user media here? So we're going to add a button to capture the media. So,
and it would have probably to be a custom component, right? If you want to bind it with a field.
Well, we'll get that far. I might just want to add a validation message for like, we could probably just do required for now and like use the data that way. Capture photo. So let's add this. I don't know if this is going to be the best use of the signal forms, but
make it.
And so navigator.media devices get the user media, and then we want this video true, audio false, and that is let's just call it capture. We'll await that. Does it not like that? Oh, right. It needs to be an async function. Cool. So we're doing a capture from our media device. We can format that down there. And then that is going to give us a stream. And so, okay. So that's giving us a stream. And so we can, I'm curious what type of object this is. So use constant stream, media stream. Okay. And so I can put a video tag to show that stream. But I really just want a snapshot. How do I get my snapshot of there? Capturing a frame from the stream. Here we go. Take picture is a function that they've implemented on MDN here. Okay, so they actually are drawing the stream, it looks like, to a canvas and then capturing it from that. So that is maybe more. Let's see. I wonder if get video tracks. Yeah, all right. Maybe this is more complicated than I thought it would be. I thought I'd be able to just take a photo from a webcam.
Okay, let's circumvent some of the technical complexity by getting Gemini to generate the code you need for that part, because that's not the part we care about, right? We care about the outcome of it.
Oh yeah. So let's. I've got my Gemini code assist here. Let's see if it can. Let's see. Generate a function that captures an image from my webcam.
Yeah, see, that's the way we do it. I feel like a disembodied like spirit because I'm talking from on the screen with no camera. While that's happening and you're inspecting the outcome, I want to answer a quick question. I wonder what Manfred Steyer thought about the V21 Mario theme after his NGConf Mario React talk. I can't speak for Manfred Steyer, but I can speak for myself being there. And I was just like, all right, we're on the right track. Because we, of course, we did not start planning this in, late September. We were already deep into production, but it was really cool to see that there was already parts of the community thinking about how to do something like this, right? And so that was really, really fun. And I'm just so glad that it was so well received. Definitely watch the stream, friends, for V21 and listen to the music because the music is very, very good.
Also, Manfred used the new mascot because before it was officially announced.
He sure did. He sure did. And that was that was also confirmation for me that people like that one a lot.
All right, so we actually have Gemini actually wrote this pretty. It seems like it does what I want. So we'll say this .auth dot update is what I want. We're gonna put that. And we're gonna say dot photo URL. And perfect.
Probably want to do the async await stuff outside. Async update.
Yes. So we're going to say, we do still want it in the try though. So const image URL equals, we'll move that out. There. And then we'll update our thing with that image. And then we really just want to see if it is required. We just want to make it required here. So we're going to just add required. photo URL, and then we'll also ask, oh, what did it call this function? Yeah, capture image.
While Jeremy is doing that, one thing, alternative way to update would be to update on the form field. So you would go select form dot picture, the parens, and then value set, which is alternative way to do the same. But you don't have to do spread and update.
All right. Let's see if this worked. Capture photo. Visiting the site. Oh,
Yeah!
that worked. Just like, oh boy, not my best frame.
But Jeremy, I just love the fact that like instead of spending 4 hours on trying to get this to work, you know what I mean? Like we got it to work with the support of AI. Like that's how I like to use AI. I'm like, how do you do this thing? Like, let's do this thing so I can keep working versus being stuck, all day. Let's go. That's so good.
I don't. What's the right aspect resolution here?
I would just set height or width. I wouldn't set both.
Well, otherwise it's huge.
Oh, that's true. Could you just do? Well, what happens if you only set height?
Yeah, it should scale. Just keep one of those.
Okay, let's just set height. There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, now if I try to submit here, my password must contain a number. I don't know, my other bullets here are blank, but that's strange.
Oh, it probably returns kind required and no message. I think
yeah.
So if you output error kind, that would confirm, I guess.
Let's see. Whoops. Yeah.
Nice.
Yes. We didn't specify a message for the requireds here. So let's fix that real quick. So here's our required, and yeah, perfect. That's great auto suggest. Photo is required. So now we can submit that. We see all of our error kind and then the error message, and set our password as ASD1. Our photo is still required. We captured photo. There's me, and we can submit. That's pretty good. And so I wonder, like, I'm not going to go ahead and go down this road, but there is a bunch of like Gemini stuff built into Chrome now. And I wonder how much you could do with actually using those APIs for like image processing and audio processing and like build validators around that. That's like a very interesting space to explore.
All right, so let's see. Let's do this. So I think we have a bunch of stuff already done, which is pretty fun that you got to get the camera stuff. We got a bunch of questions. Let's spend some time on some questions, and I think we can give everybody some weekend time back.
Go ahead and take my thing off the stream, and I'll come back.
Oh, I've already removed it, baby. Oh, I didn't turn on my camera light. Let's see. How do you turn this on? Okay, reach in my camera. Sorry,
yeah, we could probably wrap up, do some questions, and then we didn't get to the full 30 30 factor authentication.
The full 30, yeah, that's right.
Maybe next time.
No, that's good. That's super good. All right, let's see. Okay, we answered these two, so I don't want to spend time on that one. Let's see. Is there any news about the CLI MCP? I think you answered this one, Jeremy.
Is there any news about it? It's out there. It's useful.
Yeah, it's useful. And we had new features that we launched in V21. So if you go to like angular.dev/AI, that is your portal to learn even more about what's going on with the MCP server. And let's see, we got a bunch of things. So now we got AI too. Can I share this screen easily? Is this going to make my life a pain? Let me see. After our technical difficulties today, I'm like super like self-conscious about doing anything. Like, either going to break. Okay, here we go. So here's the latest about the MCP server. So we got a bunch of stuff. We got the AI tutor. You can find examples, which is super awesome. So these are authoritative code examples from curated database of official best practices. You can get the best practices file, which you can use that to do things like make your tooling, respond better, because you then have our like curated best practices. You can list your projects. Here's a good one. Look at this one, the on-push zoneless migration. So it can provide a step-by-step iterative plan. That's pretty great. And you can search the documentation. So, and we got some experimental tools. We got this modernized tool. That's pretty good. And you can learn more about that. And if you want to get started with the MCP server, just type NGMCP. Let's go. Let's go. That's exciting.
Yeah. Go put it in your IDE and give us feedback.
Oh, this was from earlier about if you use a section tag there.
Probably not. I should have been using like field set, I think. I was just kind of throwing whatever on the page because I wanted to get over to the form APIs.
I wish we had had time to talk about this, because I'll say this. The one thing, so Jeremy and I work together, we never disagree on anything. The one thing that we've actually disagreed on more than once is the use of a specific HTML element.
Is it the article tag?
The article element.
Yeah, articles for articles.
Yeah, and I say that it is valid for anything that can be plucked off the page and put someplace else. So that's the one thing that we always disagree on. And it's just like the evidence is inconclusive as to who's more right. I think we're both right. I don't know who's more right. That's the hard part.
Yeah, but if I was doing that, like building a form like that more seriously, I think field set is the element I should have been using.
Yeah. Right. Okay, signal form question. Since we're doing videos on the current set of signal forms, I wonder if the feedback so far has already led to some planned API changes, or if so far that current API seems like it does the job. Kirid, is it making us better hearing feedback?
Yeah, for sure. A lot of feedback was like really weird cases, and like what does it mean to be a no value for input type number? Is it not a number? Is it like empty string? And it's like there are lots of things which are not, they don't have clear solutions. And we've been dealing with lots of those different things. You can look at the issues on GitHub. I don't expect any huge changes, but I'm not signing my name under that because we're still experimental. So things may change. We're doing some metadata revamp coming soon. But like immediately, we don't expect anything breaking, and we do have like a lot of interesting things to think about.
More signal form questions. Are there some built-in ways to check if the form has been submitted so you can show validation messages without the ugly workaround by marking all fields as touched/dirty?
So I think once you submit the form, it automatically marks all fields as touched. We did not initially add the submitted state because we're like, let's wait and see if users want it. And it seems like users want that, so we've been talking about bringing it back. So probably the form will have a submitted state soon. That's one of those issues where we're deciding what's the best thing to do, but very likely.
So how is the Angular documentation actually done? Through code using what? Like, how can one contribute to the docs?
It's all markdown files in the repo, and you can just send PRs.
That's right. All markdown files, send PRs, we'll review them. And if they fit our needs, we will be happy to, if they improve the documentation and fit the needs of documentation, happy to merge them.
Yeah, and definitely we'll say like we are happy to get kind of like small documentation improvements and stuff. Please don't go and write like a 10,000 page guide and send a PR and just be like, here you go. If you want to make kind of a larger contribution, definitely open an issue first to discuss it and make sure it's kind of aligned with what the team wants for the docs. And I would say also try to avoid sending a high volume of PRs that are making like a bunch of tiny docs changes. We've had sometimes in the past people will come in and they'll just like send PRs that like change a word. And it's like not even a typo. It's just like, I think this word is better here. And it's like, it's not the most useful PRs because it takes just time from the team to review and get them merged. And so like meaningful contributions are great. Just try to like, there's a nice middle ground between like too big and too small.
Love it. That's correct. And thank you for your desire to support. That is awesome. We make Angular together, friends. All right. Does signal form field directive still handle empty number inputs with NaN, not a number? That's an inconsistency I noticed to form control in NG model, which write empty number as null.
That's one of the things I mentioned we're actively discussing right now, like how to handle that. So yeah, no decision yet.
Okay, no decision yet. Thank you for answering that. Let's see, we talked about that one. It's okay. Oh, Salat, what's going on? Good to see you again. Haven't seen you in a while. Say I have a radio button and on toggle. I want to add remove a control with its validation rules dynamically. Can we also demo any type of workaround? Oh, this is something somebody's asking if we can demo this.
Okay, Mark, put it on our demo list.
Yeah. I'm writing these down, and we're gonna make these demos, and that'd be great to publish some of these like
we
demos.
We are planning to have a cookbook section in our documentation, and I personally am actively hunting for examples. So if you have any other like interesting cases, just send in the chat, and I'll note that.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on 1 second. I got to write this down because literally, I don't want to stream examples. I don't want to lose these examples. These are great. Thank you for asking for them. Yeah, this is great. This is great. Salat, good to see you again. Salat came and hung out with us a lot during our agentic coding streams, and so good to see you once again. Okay, 2 questions. Double the trouble here. All right. Can we demonstrate a custom control with the signal forms? And I hear the selector will be dropped. How will this work with directives? Okay, first thing, we'll see if there's any documentation around it. The second thing is interesting, though. Any update, Jeremy, on selectors being dropped and how this will work with directives?
This is something like we spent some time earlier this year doing some explorations around selector lists. And there's a bunch of different ways we could go about doing it. And it also relates to, components have host elements. Like, do we want to have a host list components as well, where it's like more like, other frameworks where you can have a component that doesn't necessarily render a DOM element or doesn't like live on a DOM element. And we're still in a phase where we're like thinking about what the like possibilities are there and whether or not we want to go through with it at all. Like, it's not necessarily a sure thing that we're gonna like jump into this change. We have like, I think like originally we were planning on spending more time on it this year, but we switched some of our focus to the more AI related things. So like a LLM code generation, an MCP server, and a few other things we're working on in that space. And so we've been spending less time on the selector list stuff, and so it's a little bit more on the backlog now.
Okay. Sounds good. Let's go to the next one. Good questions. We're doing great. Only got a few more. We'll see. Yeah, I think we got a few more. Okay. Someone living on the wild side, but one of our wonderful community members, Lars, in the building. Signal forms are just so awesome that we had to move into production. That is dangerous. Like,
Bold
is the right. That's it. Bold. These APIs are so great. Custom form components are now super easy. Congrats. Well, first, thank you for the positive feedback. That's incredible. Kirill, should
very happy somebody is doing this. I'm very happy it's not me.
Yeah.
I wish you best of luck, and hopefully it will work out well for your project.
Yeah, that's just a bold choice. So friends at home, our reaction is not that we don't believe in our work. We believe 100% in our work. It's more that it's experimental, and we know that there's more work to do. But if the current form of signal forms is supporting your use cases, and that's what you want to do, hey, live your life. All right, howdy team. Can we vibe code with anti-gravity? Not today, but sure, we could probably do something.
Yeah, maybe next time. I was on vacation when anti-gravity came out, and so I haven't set it up yet. So I only got back from vacation this weekend. I'm I haven't caught up with all the like crazy new AI stuff that has happened over the last week, like happens every week now. But Kirill, I think you've tried it, right?
I've been using it. Yeah, it's pretty great. I actually like some things work for me better than Cursor. Some didn't, but anyway, I wanted to get back to the previous question. Hopefully
sorry.
it's not the previous question was like about the stability of signal forms, and some of internal Google projects started to use signal forms now, which makes it, while experimental, still like more stable than otherwise. So share that.
All right, that's good feedback. Can I set the value of one input field that depends on another input field without using effects?
That's a big topic. That's something we're discussing right now. You do have to use effects.
Okay. Good. I'm trying to see if there's anything else we want to touch on. Oh, here's a good one. For signal form, will there be a way to apply something like NG validator?
I was literally just looking into a quick hacked example Alex worked on just like 15 minutes before the stream. We're definitely like looking into that.
Okay. All right. Somebody's really happy to see you. Hey, Kirill in the building. Let's go. Let's see. Anything? I think that's pretty okay. Here you go. Once signal form is stable, will you omit reactive one? And I think they're asking if we're going to deprecate reactive forms.
I think we don't have enough information now. We want to see how it works. I want to see like how to scale on big projects and other things, and then we can make some decisions.
Okay, wait. Why do we get pushback? Don't come at me with experimental. Too good not to use. I love that energy. Oh, Jeremy, the scales may have been tipped. The scales may have been tipped. Are you ready?
What do you got? Sure. Okay. But there's another question here.
Okay. Go ahead.
So there's a question here that you're asking about signal forms of like, are you afraid it doesn't work or there's some bugs? But this is more broadly, why do we have these categories for developer preview and experimental, right? Why do we use these at all? Why don't we just write the code and then ship it? It's because we're only, a relatively small group of people building these things, and we have, access to a lot of Google code base and people to try things out. But there is no substitute for taking an API and having like the whole community use it ideally, right? And having hundreds of people use it and find where the edge cases are and find the things we didn't think about. And that feedback then gets folded into it. And being in developer preview and experimental lets us make breaking API changes because if we release it as stable and then we realize like, there's an edge case here that we didn't account for, because we're human, we make mistakes too. We don't think of everything all the time. We can make a fix for that right away instead of saying like, well, now we have to deprecate the old API and a year from now we can remove it and like add another API. So it just gives us an opportunity to make changes more quickly than we would otherwise have been able to.
Yeah, no, sounds good. Good feedback. All right, I think that is going to conclude to place more resources in Angular. Hey, all right, we don't get to control that. All right. Friends, oh wait, I'm still off screen. I'm still on. Come back on screen. Hey, friends. Okay, look,
Mark.
it is.
Oh, good. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I was going to say it has been fantastic to hang out with everyone this year, and Angular has had a huge year. Check out all the features we released. Go to blog.angular.dev to see all the features that we've put out from Angular v21, all the hard work. If you want to try out things like Angular Arya, Signal Forms, Zoneless by default, the Angular MCP server. There's so many things we worked on this year. Really, really exciting stuff. Anything you all want to plug for features people should check out?
We didn't talk about this today, but Angular Arya is very cool. And Angular Arya is something I've wanted the team to build for years. And the CDK had the like initial seeds of it, but I'm really happy with where we landed with Angular Aria because it is so kind of like
Okay.
the like headlessness of it and the like the lack of opinionatedness of it is really nice.
Okay, wait, I gotta show people this thing. That is just bananas. It is so bananas. Okay, check this out. Look at this. So just to show you the headless nature, because one of the things we kept hearing about material and other like attempts at UI stuff that we've done, oh, I can't really style it, right? So check this out. So this is just Angular Aria, and you got you provide all of your like styles, right? So the basic kind of out of the box. Okay, get out of here. Okay, that's that toolbar. You could do it in material style, right? And you can have your CSS and you can decide how all of this stuff looks, right? But look at that. And it's just the styling change. So this is really stylable. When we say it's headless, it's like legit like stylable the way that people have been asking for. And one of our team members made this just to show off how stylable it is. This is really incredible. So definitely check out Angular Aria. This is just so special. Really, really exciting. And there are other examples, like if you look through this, let's see if I can find one more. Or like the grid example. We have a grid example, and I'll show it. Let's see, which does this one have our different one? Well, the grid example is very good in general, but I was hoping that we had another one that had like the
Yeah, I think menu does.
menu. Yeah, that man, that is getting on my nerves, but it's fine. So you can open your menu. Look at that. Look at that. Stop joking around. Stop it. Be for real.
Yeah.
How good is that? But wait.
Yeah, we've seen over the years that a lot of people like they want to go and grab Angular material because they want the like functionality, but then they end up like fighting against the CSS that's in there because Angular material is material design always, right? Like that's what it was built to be. And so Angular Aria is like, all right, we'll give you all the functionality, but none of the styles. And you like, just bring your own styles, do whatever you want.
Yeah, that's right. Bring your own styles, do whatever you want. Okay, so that's actually going to put us on our last question then. So what difference between an Angular Aria and Angular CDK? Angular Aria, headless components, right? Like bring your own style and focus on accessibility.
There's some overlap. A lot of the ideas that are in Angular Aria started out as ideas for Angular CDK, and we ultimately decided to like create a new package. One, to make it more clear exactly what was going on. Because a lot of people are already like familiar with React Aria, and having something that is also called Angular Aria gives you an idea of like, oh, okay, I know what this is, right? Like I'm familiar with this. Whereas CDK was kind of something of an opaque term, component to dev kit. And it also like, gave us an opportunity to make something that was fully signals based. So Angular Aria is like the super most modern version of Angular with signals, and this isn't part of the public API, but if you dig into the source code, you'll see that there are these like really nice, even almost framework agnostic primitives, these things like list box pattern and combo box pattern under there that are like really nice building blocks for this that we're really happy with the architecture.
Can I call out one other thing here though about Angular Aria that I want people to kind of keep in mind? The styling does take some like intention, right? Like to get it to look as cool as like the retro, right? Like you got to be intentional to like build out that style sheet. So I want to set that expectation properly, because when I was first working with it and trying to like make some demos, I was like, oh, how quickly can I style it to my own designs? Like quickly. I don't think that that's the right intention to think about it, do it quickly. Like you want to be intentional with your design system to make Angular Aria fit.
Yeah. So the clarification here, it's like, do you need ngdeep to override the CSS of Angular Aria? There is no CSS in Angular Aria. There's none. Like what you're seeing in those demos is all just styles on the demo. The library itself has nothing.
Yeah.
There's one other like super quick one I want to answer real quick. Is someone asked
please.
about can you have like an Angular material date picker without relying on an external library for datetime stuff? That would require the temporal API to land in the browser and be supported everywhere. That is kind of a more native implementation of like date time and like parsing logic, formatting logic, and you need something like that. Otherwise, you have no way of doing it in the browser in a consistent way across all locales. All right, this time, Mark, I want to ask you, what are you playing, watching, reading?
Great question. Playing, I am all in on the original Hollow Knight because I had never played it, and all the Silk Song fanfare has re-energized my gaming. And so I'm all in on my Steam Deck and Hollow Knight right now. Watching, I'm super into Pluribus and Mandalorian season. I'm on season 2. I didn't watch the original when it came out. I didn't watch it. Now I'm watching it like later, like 5 years later. But and all in on Mandalorian, and then going to the movies by myself. That's another thing I've been doing. I've been watching movies by myself. So I've been like sneaking out after my kids go to sleep, and my wife is like sleep. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go to the movies. And so recently, I've seen Running Man, the Predator movie. I saw Weapons not too long ago. So yeah, I'm just getting out there and living. Reading. You know what? I was trying to read this book from a local author, and I'm not gonna say that the title of it yet because I don't know if I want to endorse it. Because if I say it, people are gonna look it up, right? And so I don't know yet. Maybe on the next stream I'll say if I want to talk about it. But it's a fantasy book set in a world where there are elves and pirates, and it's interesting. So we'll see.
Elves and pirates.
Elves and pirates. That's right. That's why I said I want to. Okay, we'll wait. Okay, you go. Say your answer.
As for myself, I finished Hades 2. I got like all the achievements. Great game. And I started playing a new game called Sectori, which is kind of like I never played Geometry Wars, but everybody says it's like Geometry Wars, and it's really fun. I like it a lot, and it's very addictive.
I see you playing it, so I know.
Yeah. And I'm reading Pride and Prejudice.
Okay. Say more words.
My fiance loves Jane Austen, and she cajoled me into reading it, having never read any of Jane Austen before. And it is actually quite funny. I was surprised at how funny it is for a book that is so not contemporary.
Yeah.
And then, Kirill, anything you want to share?
Sure. I generally don't play games, but my son got hooked up on Pokemon Go. And then got my wife hooked up on Pokemon Go. So we've been spending lots of time like running and catching Pokemon. So it's been super fun.
Oh, that's wonderful. I love that.
In terms of like content, I'm learning German, so I decided all my content will be in German. So I found some book on Spotify about like demons and vampires or something like that. It's free. It's like 200 hours. So I'm planning to listen to it to like next 10 years probably with my
200 hours? That's so much time.
Yes. I love long ones. There's like Wandering in English, which is very good. And also things like around 200 hours, maybe even more.
Wow. Have you ever listened to or read Infinite Jest?
I started, it was a little bit too infinite for me. So
Yeah, I was like, Infinite Jest is very long.
yes.
Anyway, all right. Wonderful. Hey, friends, it has been a blast. Kirill, thank you for hanging out. Jeremy, of course, thank you for coming to hang out. Jeremy's been so busy, and he was like, yeah, I'll do this stream with you. And I'm like, yes, with the band's getting back together. Friends at home, here's what we would ask from you. Go ahead and check out all the latest things from Angular. Tell your friends, try out our stuff, leave feedback. We've been listening, and also have a wonderful like December and the holiday season. For those of you who celebrate holidays this season, hope that you have a good one. If you don't celebrate, still hope you have a good one. And more than anything, I don't care what you use. I don't care the name of the framework. I don't care the name of your model. I just want you to get out there and go build great apps. We'll see you the next time.